Good morning everyone. I'm Rodessa May Arandia, the group leader of Group 1. So for today's topic, we are going to talk about the motion of the Earth and the solar system. Let's start in motion of the Earth.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will discuss on how does the Earth move in space and the movements of the Earth. What is Earth? The Earth is made of rocks, soil, water, and air. The land contains mountains, valleys, and flat areas. The air is made up of different gases, mainly nitrogen and oxygen. The water includes oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, rain, snow, and ice. The Earth is one of the planets that spin and travel around the Sun, and it is also a very tiny part of the universe. The Earth moves in two ways. First, the rotation around the polar axis. Second, the revolution around the Sun. The Earth turns and goes along on its orbit. The Earth moves at a constant speed. It follows a counterclockwise direction. Remember, the Earth moves in constant speed by spinning on its axis, revolving around the Sun and moving through the Milky Way along with the rest of the solar system. Now, let's proceed on the movements of the Earth. Here is the example picture of the Earth's rotation and revolution. Rotation is the movement of Earth around its axis. Axis is called an imaginary line. The rotation is also called the spinning of the Earth. It takes the Earth about 24 hours or 1 day to make one complete rotation. The direction of rotation is from west to east or counterclockwise. The Earth is spinning on its axis gives us a speed of just 0.5 kilometers or less than 0.001% the speed of the light. The effects of the Earth's rotation is the day and the night. The Sun is the closest star to Earth. The Sun seems to rise in the east and sets in the west. The apparent movement of the Sun is due to the direction of Earth's rotation. The rotation of the Earth causes day and night. It takes 23.93 hours to complete one rotation, and this motion creates a day and night approximately in 12 hours.
Good morning again. So let's proceed to the revolution. The Earth rotates as it travels around the Sun in space. The movement of the Earth around the Sun is called revolution. The Earth revolves around the Sun in a counterclockwise direction. It takes the Earth a year or 365 and 1/4 days to revolve around the Sun. The calendar we presently use, or the Gregorian calendar, only uses 365 days. So to compensate for the excess time and to keep the calendar in sync with the revolution of the Earth, a leap year is used every 4 years. A leap year adds 1 day to the end of February. The Earth travels around the Sun in a path or orbit. This orbit has an elliptical shape. This is the reason why sometimes the Earth is far from or close to the Sun. Next is the effects of Earth's revolution, or yung tinatawag nating 4 season. It takes 365 and 1/4 days of for Earth to complete one revolution around the Sun. These periods define a year. In some countries, this movement of the Earth goes the 4 seasons: the summer, autumn, winter, and spring. Why are there 4 seasons in some countries? Different parts of the Earth have different seasons throughout the year because of the Earth's revolution in the tilt of its axis. The Earth tilts at 23 degrees. As the Earth moves around the Sun, the Earth's axis is always tilted in the same direction throughout its orbit. As a result, different parts of the Earth receive different amount of sunlight at different times of the year. Summer begins in the northern hemisphere on June 21 or 22. During this time, the North Pole is tilted to its full 23 and 1/2 degrees towards the sun. The northern hemisphere experiences its longest daylight period. At the same time, the southern hemisphere experiences its shortest daylight. Winter starts on December 21 or 22. At this time, the North Pole is tilted to its full 23 and 1/2 degrees away from the sun. The shortest daylight period occurs in the northern hemisphere, while the longest daylight period occurs to the southern hemisphere. Twice a year, the daylight and nighttime period are of equal length. On this day, the axis is tilted neither toward nor away from the sun. On March 21, the length of the day and night is equal, and that is what we call spring equinox. On September 23, the day and night are again of equal length, and that is what we call autumnal equinox.
Hi, I'm Shaina Joy M. Ayala, and I will continue the discussions about planets of the solar system: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest or largest planet in the solar system. It is bigger and heavier than all other planets combined. It has an equatorial diameter of 142,984 kilometers. Its average distance from the Sun is 774 million kilometers. Jupiter is covered with thick clouds. There is no solid ground on Jupiter. It is called a gas giant planet, which is made up mostly of hydrogen and helium rather than rocks and metals as Earth. The average surface temperature at the top of its clouds can reach about -149 degrees Celsius. Jupiter takes 12 Earth years to complete one revolution and 10 hours to complete its rotation. It has a huge storm in its atmosphere called Great Red Spot. Jupiter has 50 moons, with an additional of 17 moons recently discovered and currently being confirmed. One of its moons, Ganymede, is the largest in the solar system. Next is Saturn. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun, which has an average distance of 1.4 billion kilometers from it and is the farthest planet visible to the naked eye. Saturn has an equatorial diameter of 120,536 kilometers. It takes 10.7 Earth hours for Saturn to complete a rotation and 29 Earth years to complete a revolution. Saturn is a cold planet. The temperature at the top of Saturn's clouds can reach about -176 degrees Celsius. Like Jupiter, Saturn is also a gas giant without a solid surface. It is composed mostly of hydrogen and helium. There are 53 known moons surrounding Saturn. Its largest moon is Titan. It is the second largest moon in the solar system. Next is Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet of the solar system and the first planet discovered by means of a telescope. Its average distance from the Sun is 2.9 billion kilometers. This planet is considered an ice giant because it is mostly made up for frozen water, methane, and ammonia. Its atmosphere is mostly hydrogen and helium. Its average surface temperatures can reach -215 degrees Celsius. Uranus is the only planet that rotates on its side. It takes 17 hours to complete its rotation and 84 Earth years to complete its revolution. Its equatorial diameter is 118 kilometers. Uranus has rings too. There are 11 rings around it. The rings are dark, narrow, and widely spaced. The planet also has 27 moons, the largest of which is called Titania. Next is Neptune. Neptune is the eighth planet from the Sun and is the first planet to be discovered using mathematical calculations before being confirmed by a telescope. Its average distance from the Sun is 4.5 billion kilometers. Neptune's rotation lasts about 16 Earth hours. It completes one revolution around the Sun every 165 Earth days. This planet also has no solid surface and is a gas giant. Its surface temperature is negative 214 degrees Celsius, mostly the same of Uranus. Its equatorial diameter is 49,532 kilometers. Neptune and Uranus are called twin planets because they have about the same size and mass. They also both look blue-green because of methane gas in their atmosphere. Neptune has 6 dark rings made up of every fine particles. It has 13 moons, the largest of which is called Triton. And the last one is the Pluto. Pluto is a dwarf planet beyond Neptune. It is used to be considered as a planet but in year 2006. It was degraded into a dwarf planet because it did not meet the International Astronomical Union's or IAU criteria for planets. And
Terrestrial planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are the four inner planets. They are also called terrestrial planets because, like Earth, these planets have a rocky surface. Mercury is the nearest planet to the Sun. It has an average distance of 58 million kilometers from the Sun and an equatorial diameter of 4,880 kilometers. It takes 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete its revolution and 59 days to complete its rotation. It has a very thin atmosphere and has a surface temperature of up to 430 degrees Celsius during daytime and 180 degrees Celsius during nighttime. Its surface is full of craters, much like the Earth's moon. Mercury has no moon or ring around it. Venus has almost the same size and density as the Earth. It, it is the second closest planet to the Sun and has an average distance of 108 million kilometers from it. Venus is a rocky planet and, and has an equatorial diameter of 12,104 kilometers. It has mountains, craters, and volcanoes on its surface. It Its atmosphere is made up mostly of carbon dioxide, which has a surface temperature that rises to more than 470 degrees Celsius. The thick layer of clouds in Venus' atmosphere reflects sunlight very well, making Venus the brightest object in the sky. Next to the moon, as seen from the Earth, it is often called evening star or morning star. Earth. Earth is the only planet in the solar system that can sustain life. It is known as the blue planet because it looks blue as seen from the outer space. It has an average distance of 149 million kilometers from the Sun. Earth's atmosphere is made up mostly of 77% nitrogen gas and 21% oxygen, with traces of argon, carbon dioxide, and water. Its average surface temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. About one-third of the Earth's surface is land, while two-thirds is water. The land part is divided into continents with various landforms like mountains and hills. The water part consists of various bodies of water like ocean and rivers. It takes 365 and one-fourth days for the Earth to complete its revolution and 24 hours to complete its rotation. It has only one moon that revolves around it every 27.3 days. Mars. Mars is called the red planet. It looks red because of the presence of iron on its surface. It has an equatorial distance of 6,788 kilometers. Its average distance from the Sun is 227 million kilometers. It has a very thin atmosphere which consists largely of carbon dioxide and a small percentage of other gases. It has an average surface temperature of negative 63 degrees Celsius. It is also known for its volcanoes. It has one of the largest volcanoes in the solar system, the Olympus Mons. It takes 687 Earth days to complete its revolution. Like Earth, it takes 24 hours to complete its rotation.